In this hands-on exercise, you will learn how a single-step agent uses an LLM and tools for task completion. Note that the code that you will see in this exercise does not use the Langchain agent or tool classes. I've done it deliberately so that you can understand how agents work under the covers. In the exercise, you will set up an agent with two tools. The weather tool will get the weather information for the specified city. The stock tool will get the stock price for the specified company. Since our focus is on agents, we will use some dummy functions to represent the backend APIs. Now, before I describe the flow, I'll ask you two quick questions. Take the best shot at these quiz questions. Here comes the first question. LLM is made aware of the available tools via fill in the blank. If you selected prompt, then you are right. The LLM is made aware of the various tools available to it via the prompt. Here comes the second question. So LLM is made aware of the tools via the prompt. What all does the LLM need to know so that it can propose the use of the tool? If you selected all of these, then you are correct. In order to make the LLM aware of the available tools, the agent needs to pass the tool name, description of the tool, and the arguments needed for invoking the tool. Let's take a look at how this information is passed to the LLM in the prompt. This is the template for the single-step agent. Here we are assigning a role of assistant to the LLM. We are telling LLM not to use its parametric knowledge for answering the questions. Rest of the prompt is divided into three parts. Part 1 is a chain of thought prompt that asks the LLM to create a plan that uses the passed tools. This is where we are passing the information about the tools to the LLM. In part 2, we are asking the LLM to generate responses in JSON formats. There are three formats that we are asking the LLM to use. Format number 1 is if the question cannot be answered with the available tools. Format number 2 is if a tool needs to be run, then the LLM needs to generate a JSON with the tool name and the arguments. The format number 3 is if the question cannot be answered with the responses from the tool. Part 3 provides the tool responses and the question to the LLM for the generation of the final output. Next, I'll walk you through the flow of the agent code. There are three steps involved in this flow. In step number 1, the agent sends the prompt to the LLM. The prompt contains the user's question or query and the information about the tools. LLM generates a plan and suggests the actions. Agent parses the actions. It then invokes appropriate tools in step number 2. It gathers the responses from the tools, and in step number 3, it sends the tool responses along with the plan and other information in the prompt to the LLM. The LLM then generates the final answer that the agent sends back to the caller. The instructions for building out this agent is available in the course guide under the Agentic RAG section. Exercise number 1, single step agent. There are two ways to do it. First way is you can create a new notebook and then copy and paste the code provided in the guide into your notebook and then run it step by step. Make sure that you spend time in understanding what the code is doing. These are the dummy functions. As you can see, there are some hard-coded values for the stocks and some hard-coded weather information in the city weather tool. Here is the agent code that implements the 3 steps that I have described in the flow. And then you will also see some test scenarios. The second way you can try out this code is by opening up the solution notebook that is available under the agentic RAG section. Just make changes to the location of your key file and run the notebook steps to see the single step agent in action. Let me quickly show you how this code works. Here is the solution notebook. I'm setting up the LLM, setting up the prompt. Here in the second step, setting up the tools. These are the local functions that are representing the backend for the tools. Here is the agent code with the 3 steps. And here are some test scenarios. In this first test, we are asking the question, which of these cities is hotter, Paris or London? Let's go ahead and run this. Here are the outputs from the 3 steps. In step number 1, the LLM has asked the agent to execute the city weather function twice, first for Paris and then for London. In the second step, the agent invoked the city weather function twice, got the responses, and sent them to the LLM for the generation of the final answer. And this is the response from the LLM after the third step. In the second test, the question is, search the web for articles on large language models. Obviously, there is no tool available for searching the web. So let's run it and see what happens here. Here, the LLM has given a final answer, no appropriate tool available. You'll observe that step 2 and step 3 are not even being run because right after step 1, the agent figured out that there is no tool available for the LLM to generate the output. The third test case is a complex test case. The question is, I'm interested in investing in one of these stocks, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. Here is a decision criteria for purchasing the stock. If the weather is sunny, then choose the stock with the lowest price. If it is raining, then choose the stock with the highest price. If the weather is cloudy, do not buy any stock. And then the location is being given, which is New York. So question is, based on the current weather in New York and the stock prices, which stock should I invest in? Let's run it. Now this scenario involves execution of multiple tools. And in the step 1, LLM is asking to run the city weather tool with the city as New York. It also asks to run the company stock price tool thrice, once for Apple, second time for Microsoft, and then third time for Amazon. Step 2, the agent invoked the tools and sent back the responses. And finally, in step 3, the LLM has all the information to make a decision, and it responded back with Apple as the stock to be purchased. In test number 4, the scenario is that the tool is not generating enough information for the LLM to generate the response. So the question here is, I have only $200. Can I buy Google stock? The dummy code does not have information about the Google stock. As a result, it returns the price as unknown, and the LLM responded with the output that says can't generate as there is no response from the tool. So go ahead, try out this code on your own, and don't be afraid to experiment. Try it out with additional test scenarios. Happy learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson.